Welcome to your daily stock market summary from MarketSnap. Hey everyone, I'm thrilled to be with you on this last trading day of 2025, breaking down the action as we close out a wild year on Wall Street. We've got a lot to unpack today, from a shaky market finish to some big picture economic outlooks for 2026, and even a few standout movers that could shape your long-term portfolio. So, let's dive right in and see what's moving the markets as we head into the new year. First up, let's talk about how the major indexes wrapped up 2025. It wasn't exactly a celebratory close, as all the big players took a step back today. The Dow Jones slipped a bit over 0.5%, while the S&P 500 and NASDAQ each dropped around 0.75%. The Russell 2000 wasn't spared either, also down by a similar margin. This muted finish comes after a year of solid gains, with the S&P 500 up over 15% for 2025, marking 3 straight years of double-digit growth. But with no Santa Claus rally in sight, it seems investors are playing it cautious as we roll into 2026. For us long-term folks, this dip isn't a panic signal. It's just a reminder to keep our eyes on fundamentals over short-term noise. Now, let's check out some of the day's big winners among large-cap stocks. Leading the charge was Axsome Therapeutics, skyrocketing over 20% after the FDA granted priority review for their Alzheimer's agitation drug. That's a massive catalyst and a reminder of how regulatory news can ignite biotech stocks. Nike also had a strong day, up over 4%, boosted by insider buying from their CEO. Confidence like that can signal a potential bottom for long-term investors. And keep an eye on smaller but notable movers like Impinj, up a solid 3%, showing strength in tech hardware. These gains highlight pockets of opportunity even on a down day. On the flip side, we've got some notable decliners to discuss. Palantir Technologies took a hit, down close to 2%, despite an incredible yearly performance of over 130%. Micron Technology and AppLovin also saw pullbacks of around 2.5% and nearly 3%, respectively, reflecting some profit-taking in high-flying tech names. For long-term investors, these dips could be entry points, especially in names like Micron, with massive yearly gains tied to AI demand. Short-term volatility is just part of the game. Focus on the bigger trend. Let's zoom in on the market movers shaking things up today. NVIDIA continues to dominate trading activity, though it edged down slightly, still riding a strong yearly gain thanks to relentless AI chip demand. Tesla also saw heavy action, slipping about 1%, with all eyes on their robo-taxi rollout as a key driver for 2026. Apple and Amazon were in the mix too, each down a fraction, but their long-term stories remain intact with innovation and e-commerce growth. These giants are core holdings for many of us, and today's moves are just noise compared to their structural strength. Speaking of volume, the most active stocks today give us a pulse on where the action is. NVIDIA again tops the list, showing how much investor interest remains in AI plays. Intel was busy too, down a bit, but with an impressive yearly run of over 80%, hinting at a semiconductor comeback. And NIO, the electric vehicle player, saw heavy trading with a sharp drop of over 7%, reflecting some China-related concerns. For long-term investors, high volume can signal conviction, both bullish and bearish, so it's worth watching these names for potential setups. Shifting gears, let's touch on the broader economic outlook as we head into 2026. There's a mix of optimism and caution in the air. Analysts from Citi and others are saying that if market fundamentals hold, next year could be solid, with forecasts pointing to accelerating growth and stabilizing unemployment. However, there are worries too. Some see echoes of the dot-com bubble in today's valuations, and geopolitical risks like tariffs are front and center after President Trump's return shook up global markets this year. For us long-term investors, this means staying diversified and ready for volatility while betting on sectors with real growth drivers. One key theme for 2026 that's got everyone talking is the Federal Reserve's next moves. Recent Fed minutes showed a deep split on rate cuts, with some officials hesitant to ease further anytime soon. Yet economists like Mark Zandi are predicting aggressive cuts in the first half of next year due to labor market softness. For long-term portfolios, interest rate sensitivity matters. Lower rates could lift growth stocks, but a pause might favor value plays. Keep an eye on this as it could shape sector rotations in the S&P 500. Over in the tech-heavy Nasdaq space, AI remains the buzzword as we look ahead. There's chatter about a potential bubble, with some experts warning of overvaluation, while others see productivity gains legitimizing the hype if adoption accelerates. Names like Nvidia and Microsoft are at the forefront, and while short-term froth could lead to pullbacks, the long-term trend of AI transforming industries is hard to ignore. For us, it's about picking winners with real moats in this space, not just chasing the hype. Let's take a quick look at the past week's top large-cap performers. FTAI Aviation led with a 14% jump, pivoting into AI-related power solutions, a fascinating story for growth investors. XPeng and Baidu also showed strength, up over 7% each, highlighting China's tech and EV recovery. These weekly moves can signal emerging trends, and for long-term players, they're worth researching as potential portfolio additions. On the other hand, the week's biggest losers included Rocket Lab, down over 8%, and Palantir, shedding more than 7% in a broader tech pullback. Tesla also slipped over 6%, reflecting ongoing volatility in the EV space. While these short-term drops sting, they often create buying opportunities for us long-term investors if the underlying story hasn't changed. Now let's peek at the earnings calendar for this week. It's a lighter slate with the year-end, but we've got a few names to watch. Companies like AMTD IDEA Group and SolarWind Holdings are on deck, though they're smaller players. No major heavyweights reporting today, but as we roll into January, expect the big guns to start dropping numbers that could set the tone for 2026. Earnings season is always a critical time for us to reassess our holdings and spot undervalued gems.
Get exclusive AI summaries of every earnings call. No more reading hours of transcripts. Access revenue segmentation, 5-year analyst estimates, SWOT analyses, and full financial statements. Plus track upcoming earnings, dividends, and market events with MarketSnap's calendar app. Create a free account at MarketSnap.com.
Wrapping up with a sector snapshot, let's see what's been hot over the past week. Industrials led the pack with a nearly 3% gain, showing resilience amid economic uncertainty. Energy also edged up slightly, benefiting from stable demand. Meanwhile, consumer cyclicals and communication services held their ground. For long-term portfolios, these sector moves can guide where to overweight. Industrials might be a sleeper pick for steady growth. On the flip side, healthcare took the hardest hit this week, down nearly 0.7%, with consumer defensive and tech sectors also lagging. These underperformers could be areas to hunt for value if you believe in a rebound, especially in tech, where AI and innovation still drive the long-term narrative. Remember, sector weakness often hides individual winners. Do your homework.
MarketSnap brings everything long-term investors use daily into one clean, fast platform. Explore stock financials, SWOT analysis, valuation ratios, 5-year analyst estimates, and our intrinsic value calculator, built with real fundamentals, not hype. All in a layout that's simple to read and ridiculously fast to navigate. And when you want to talk investing, join Nexus, our community where investors share valuations, posts, and stock discussions, all connected directly to the data. Use our Stock's Intrinsic Value Calculator to run and save real valuations with no spreadsheets. Share your analysis and valuations with others in the Nexus community. Get daily market summaries in video, audio, and article formats. Track the market with our earnings, dividend, and economics calendar. Our homepage gives you a real-time market overview with interactive heat maps, top market movers, and major index performance at a glance. Track daily performances, discover the most active stocks, and analyze performance across different timeframes, from weekly to yearly trends, and see which industries are leading or lagging. It's free to create an account, with optional access to premium forward-looking data. Try it now at MarketSnap.com and invest with clarity, not noise. That's a wrap for today's stock market summary from MarketSnap. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure to stick with us for daily updates and deep dive SWOT analyses to keep your investment strategy sharp. Whether you're navigating short-term turbulence or building wealth for the long haul, we've got the insights to help. See you tomorrow.